Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 011, Arithmetic, Section 1.9, Problem 30. This is Section 1.9, Problem 30. It says use the correct order of operations to solve the following problem. So this is a pretty big problem now. You have 2 times in parentheses 6 to the second power minus the square root of under the square root 4 plus 4 times 3. Then in the denominator of this fraction 3 to the second power minus 10 divided by 2. Wow, a lot of stuff going on. We have to decide where do we start. Well, you have to start with parentheses, but you really have a lot of parentheses or technically grouping symbols going on. There's really only one set of parentheses, but the work under the square root, that's a grouping symbol, it's like a parenthesis, and actually the fraction bar is like another parenthesis. So overall, what I want to get is one number in the numerator or top of the fraction and one in the bottom, and it becomes a division problem. So it'll be the top divided by the bottom. Now, to start, you really have 2 sets of parentheses in the top. The parentheses that you can see that are written, and then another set of parentheses, not written as a parentheses, but the grouping symbol of the square root. So I really should start within the square root. And even within the square root, I have a choice to make whether I add or multiply. Both operations are occurring under the square root. Well, whenever you have an add and a multiply and you have to decide which one gets done first, you have to do the multiply first. So the very first thing I'm going to do is the 4 times 3 under the square root. So we'll start with that. So as I do the problem, the 2 in front will stay, times the parentheses will stay for now, 6 to the second power minus the square root of 4 plus 12. The 4 times 3 gets turned into a 12. And then in the denominator I'll have 3 second power minus 10 divided by 2. So now I can finish the work under the square root. The 4 plus 12, now I can do that. That's the last thing to do under the square root. So the 2 in front can stay in front, times, I'll open the parentheses, 6 second power minus square root of 4 plus 12. 4 plus 12 is 16. And then close the parentheses in the top, and then in the denominator, 3 squared, or 3 second power, minus 10 divided by 2. So it's getting a little bit better. Now in the parentheses I have an exponent, second power, a subtraction, and a square root. Well, square root is really like a type of exponent. So in the numerator I have 2 exponents occurring, this second power for the 6 and the square root of 16. I can really do both of those together. So the 2 in front will stay. I'll open my parentheses. In the parentheses I will have 36 minus the square root of 16. The square root of 16 is 4. Because square root of 16, what we're looking for is what number multiplied times itself will give me back a 16. And that number is 4. 4 times 4 most definitely is a 16. So the square root of 16 is 4. Now in the denominator, or the bottom of my division, I have 3 second power. And since I'm doing the exponents, I can do that 3 second power now. In the bottom I have a second power, an exponent, a subtraction, a division. So my exponent has the highest level of priority. I'll do that 3 second power. I can do that right now. So that will be 9 minus 10 divided by 2. So now I do still have some parentheses in the top. Let me finish those parentheses right now. So I will have 2 times 36 minus 4 is 32. So all that work in parentheses boiled down to a 32. And then in the denominator, 9 minus 10 divided by 2. So on the top, 2 times 32 is all that's left to do in the top. That is a 64. in the bottom, I do have 9 minus 10 divided by 2. I have a subtraction and a division that I have to do, consider all at the same time. Again, that fraction bar is a type of grouping symbol. So between subtraction and division, division has a higher level of priority. I have to do the division first. So I'll leave the 9 for now, but 10 divided by 2 I can do as a 5. That 10 divided by 2 gets turned into a 5, and now I'll have 64 for the upper portion. Underneath 9 minus 5 is 4. So this whole thing boils down to 64 divided by 4. Well, I know the answer to that is 16. Let's say you don't see it. 64 over 4 is the same as 64 divided by 4, which can be done this way. 4 divides into 64 how many times? 4 will fit into 6 once. 1 times 4 is 4. Now 6 minus 4 is 2. Then I bring down the next digit, which is a 4, put it next to the 2, so the 2 with a 4 after it is a 24. 4 divides into 24 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract, the remainder is 0, so it goes in evenly. So the final answer is 16.